Currently, Taiwan stands as the second wealthiest major economy in Asia, closely trailing Japan. If present trends persist, Taiwan is poised to surpass Japan in the coming years. Taiwan has successfully transformed from a poverty-stricken agrarian settlement under military dictatorship, a regime that officially concluded only 35 years ago. The trajectory of Taiwan's economic evolution, transitioning from an agrarian economy to a low-cost manufacturing hub and eventually emerging as a prominent center for world-leading industries, is not unique. Several other countries in the region, such as South Korea, Singapore, Japan, and certain regions within mainland China, have followed similar paths during the latter part of the 20th century. What sets Taiwan apart is that it was one of the last major economies to make this leap. Today, an increasing number of rapidly growing economies worldwide face challenges in progressing from the developing stage to becoming advanced economies. Brazil, for instance, is an exceptional case as it arguably became the first country to transition from an advanced economy back to a developing one. The prevailing trend suggests that fewer countries are successfully taking the final step to become fully fledged advanced economies. Instead, they encounter persistent challenges during the developing stage. While various factors contribute to the wealth disparity between rich and poor nations, one significant element is the phenomenon known as brain drain. This process has the potential to solidify countries' positions in the global economy, making it exceedingly difficult for others to join the ranks of the approximately 30 existing advanced economies. So, what exactly is brain drain, why is it worsening, and how does it contribute to the wealth gap? Furthermore, is there any feasible solution for developing countries to prevent this phenomenon? Defining an advanced economy precisely is challenging. Economists broadly agree that it encompasses a country with a GDP per capita of at least $20,000 per year, advanced and highly technical industries, a well-functioning and regulated market system, and a high score on the Human Development Index. The combination of these factors is crucial, which explains why institutions like the International Monetary Fund, IMF, classify Spain as an advanced economy but not Brunei, despite the latter having a GDP per capita 50% higher than that of Spain. In fact, the IMF is the primary agency that explicitly classifies individual countries as advanced, emerging, or low income. For most economists, an advanced economy is something they can recognize when they see it. Understanding what hinders other countries from attaining this loosely defined status is important. Brain drain refers to the departure of highly educated and productive individuals from their home country in search of better opportunities abroad. Motivations for this migration can include higher paying jobs, an improved quality of life, or a desire to escape violence, corruption, or persecution. Generally, the most productive members of economies worldwide are relocating from developing countries to advanced economies. Advanced economies typically offer a higher quality of life with lower levels of violence and better job prospects. For instance, an engineer in India earns an average salary of 800,000 rupees, equivalent to approximately $10,000 in the United States. However, if they were to pursue engineering qualifications in the US, their potential earnings could be 10 times higher or even more. Additionally, advanced countries like the US, despite their own issues, tend to be less crowded and less polluted compared to many areas in developing countries like India. Given the opportunity, many individuals from India and other nations would choose to pursue such prospects. Unfortunately, this phenomenon negatively impacts their home countries as they lose their most productive workers, those who contribute the most in taxes, generate the highest value, and possess the greatest potential for driving innovation to enhance the nation's prosperity. It is worth noting that this migration occurs precisely when these individuals cease to be an economic burden, though it may sound harsh to refer to them in this manner. They consume more resources from the economy than they contribute until they enter the workforce. However, once they become working professionals, they again become financially dependent in their old age. In underdeveloped economies, this investment is typically considered worthwhile, whether by the government or the children's families. In these economies, children often take care of their parents when they can no longer work, and the cost of raising children is relatively low. Therefore, children serve as a low-cost workforce and a form of retirement plan. Alongside demographic and cultural factors, this explains why low-income economies have large populations with many children. In high-income countries, the cost-benefit analysis of having children is reversed. Raising children is expensive and often requires parents to leave the workforce for an extended period. Moreover, these countries have laws against child labor, even in family businesses. Additionally, there is no expectation that children will financially support their parents in old age because alternative support systems are already in place. As a result, most major and developing economies worldwide are currently facing demographic challenges, where insufficient numbers of children are being born to sustain the cycle of younger generations caring for the elderly. If a majority of the population becomes too old to work, it will place a significant burden on the remaining young individuals, either directly by dedicating more of the workforce to elderly care or indirectly through increased taxes to cover the costs of supporting an aging population. This situation is already occurring, as labor force participation rates in many countries are declining, with individuals opting out of the workforce earlier than expected. Furthermore, these figures do not account for the growing population of individuals beyond the assumed working age who will require additional care. Low-income and developing countries will experience these effects more acutely because a higher proportion of their jobs involve physical labor, which cannot be performed by older or frail individuals. On the other hand, advanced economies have an advantage that helps them maintain their wealth. They serve as destinations for skilled young workers seeking a better life, mitigating the negative impacts of brain drain experienced by low-income and developing economies. These desirable countries can regulate the inflow of skilled workers by adjusting the number of skilled worker visas they issue. The global pandemic, along with high unemployment rates and low labor force participation, has influenced this dynamic. Many governments are increasingly welcoming a large number of skilled migrants. These workers not only help address the challenges posed by aging populations but also serve as an economic stimulus. When people move to a new country, they need to purchase various items to establish themselves, such as cars, furniture, phones, internet plans, and housing. Whether they rent or buy, skilled migrants bring money from their home country into the host country, stimulating the local economy. One area where this impact is particularly noticeable is in education. For many individuals moving from low-income or developing economies to advanced economies, student visa programs provide a primary pathway to residency. Completing a university degree in a developed country increases their chances of successfully obtaining a work visa after graduation. The host country recognizes their degree and has confidence in their language skills and ability to be productive. University degrees in most advanced economies are significantly more expensive for international students due to the absence of government pricing controls and high demand. Consequently, these international students become a significant source of revenue for educational institutions. However, this situation is not without its challenges. In countries like Australia, where education is a major export, there has been a trend to ensure that international students receive a university degree regardless of their performance. Such practices have led to scandals where professors were pressured to pass underperforming international students to maintain the university's reputation for attracting more international students. This issue is not unique to Australia, as universities worldwide struggle to balance the temptation of financial gains from international students with maintaining academic integrity. Furthermore, international students often occupy places that could have been taken by local students who missed out due to competition. While it may seem fair that students should be admitted based on merit rather than nationality, instances have occurred where international students with limited language skills and questionable academic performance were accepted at the expense of local students. Despite these concerns, from a macroeconomic perspective, this process provides an ideal way to introduce skilled labor into an economy. The country receiving international students benefits from direct stimulus through funding research institutions and from students' everyday living expenses, such as housing, food, and entertainment. While some students may work part-time jobs, the majority of the money to cover these expenses comes from their families or personal savings back home. Even if they take part-time jobs, they often fill unskilled and low-paid positions that locals are less interested in. Upon graduating and entering the host country's workforce, they start their careers from the beginning, maximizing their potential to add value and contribute taxes to the country that did not support them during their childhood. This process also ensures that advanced economies attract the best and brightest workers, fostering innovation and maintaining a competitive edge over developing economies that lose their most promising innovators. So, how can economists address the issue of brain drain that is already hindering the growth of numerous countries worldwide? The truth is that advanced economies are generally more attractive places to live and work compared to developing economies. This is not only due to higher incomes but also because of lower levels of corruption, crime, and pollution, along with better access to healthcare, education, and public utilities. While there are exceptions to this generalization, it remains a significant factor in slowing down brain drain. If living conditions in developing countries improve, people will be less inclined to move abroad. However, eliminating pollution, crime, corruption, and enhancing public services is a complex task. Another approach is for countries to heavily invest in industries that have the potential to drive them towards becoming advanced economies. Examples like South Korea, Japan, and Taiwan demonstrate the success of strong government programs aimed at developing leading technical industries. These industries are not merely focused on low-cost manufacturing or services but are controlled by top innovators. Japan continues to be a global leader in advanced electronic devices, South Korea is home to numerous competitive companies, and Taiwan's industries play a crucial role in the global economy. Investing in these industries often requires substantial financial incentives to attract experts from less desirable countries and leverage their expertise to establish the industry. However, this endeavor is risky and comes with no guarantees of success. It may also consume government funds that could have been allocated to public services and addressing the issues that initially compelled people to seek a better life abroad. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching and remember to subscribe to trending updates.